Thank you. I'd like to call to order the regular Planning Commission meeting. Today is Tuesday, November 19th, and it is 5:30. The land that we know as Sequim was once inhabited solely by First Peoples known as the S'Klallam people, represented by the three tribal governments, Lower Elwha S'Klallam, Jamestown S'Klallam, and Port Gamble S'Klallam. We serve as stewards of the land within the city of Sequim with the same care and consideration the S'Klallam tribes has and continues to provide. This acknowledgement is a respect to the S'Klallam people and their history. The Planning Commission serves as an advisory body to the City Council. The purpose of the Planning Commission is to provide guidance and direction for Sequim's future growth through continued review and improvement to Sequim's comprehensive plan, zoning code, shoreline management, environmental protection, and related land use documents. The Planning Commission will have all of the powers and perform each and all of the duties specified by Chapter 35A.63 RCW as amended and set forth or amended by ordinance. Roll call. Emily, will you please take roll call?
Of course. Commissioner Carter.
Present.
Commissioner Kuntz.
Present.
Commissioner Cummings.
Here.
Commissioner Fain.
Present.
Commissioner Hewitt.
Present.
Commissioner Lefebvre. Commissioner Mihalik.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Approval of minutes. This is for our last meeting for October 15th. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes? And if so, are there any corrections or changes? Okay. If there's no changes or discussion, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
I move to approve.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Second. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, minutes stand approved. Public comment. General public comment will be heard at this time. Each person is limited to 3 minutes. For those wishing to speak on the public hearing topics, please hold those comments until that portion of the meeting. Seeing no one in the room from the public, Emily, is there anybody online?
No one online.
Okay, thank you. General business. We have one item tonight under general business, and that is the adoption of the Planning Commission Rules of Procedure. I read through this, and my understanding, which please, Lindsay, if I'm wrong, but it looks like we have already reviewed this and it was not finalized. So we are officially finalizing it, and there have been no changes from what we originally fake approved. Is that right? Didn't fake approve, but
I may have made one edit to it, and so that's why I'm trying to pull it up really fast. I don't want to say yes because there may have been a tone change that I did remove. So let me pull up tonight's agenda.
okay.
And I believe that it was in the draft language of 2.36 that I made just one minor change. So. Thank you for your patience. The bylaws. So yes, so tonight, as you guys are aware, the RCW identifies the duties. You state it to it at the beginning of each agenda. The Sequim Municipal Code establishes the formation of the Planning Commission, and then the rules and procedures are to guide your guys' process in the meetings as items come up, as there may be perhaps the commission needs to identify, how does the commission speak as a whole if you vote on divided issues. or maybe you want to talk about how long your meetings will last. So there's many different forms that the bylaws can cover to address how you want to operate the meetings under the RCW and the formation of the commission by City Council under the Sequim Municipal Code. It's my understanding that for multiple years there was edits and revisions to the bylaws. They were always in a draft form and have not been put with some minutes as finalized to form. These bylaws can be amended at any time, so they do not require a legislative act to amend the commission's bylaws. There were, in my understanding, the last edits of the bylaws, there were recognition of housekeeping amendments that needed to be addressed in Sequim Municipal Code for the establishment of the Planning Commission, because we had gotten beyond the first few terms and identified the rolling terms and when each seat or position has its appointees. The materials in front of you this evening I did not make any changes to the bylaws as drafted from the version that I received.
Okay.
And there was one edit I made in the bottom of 2.36050A where I added "and economic" to the Department of Community Development.
Okay. So I have a question under the agenda packet section. It says an agenda for a regularly scheduled meeting must be distributed 4 calendar days preceding any scheduled meeting to each member of the Planning Commission. So that's, just for clarification, that's calendar, not business, right? So the Friday by you having the agenda to us by Friday, we're good.
Correct.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on this at all? Any comments? Jeff, are you thinking?
Yes, I'm thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna ask the commission a question here. You guys remember renaming the department being renamed to Community and Economic Development? I don't. That was Barry, right? I don't remember a change of name.
Where?
It's official?
Yeah, it's been, I believe it was, and I'm looking at Matt Hewish right now, nudging him to let him know I'm looking at him. Matt, do you recall when the official name change of the department from Community Development to Community and Economic Development occurred?
I thought it was always that, and that's the title I was used to when I came here, and nobody ever corrected me or it was never an official activity or movement or statement. So I just kind of thought it was.
So I do believe that it was coined that in about the 22 or 23 budget cycle was when I was looking through historical budgets, I noticed a change in the name, and it may have been before Matt arrived too.
And I know Barry had the title of both, but he said he wasn't doing much on it. And I said, fine, whatever, it's COVID. So, and then from there on, we just kept it. So I kind of inherited it, I thought, and then we have
Okay,
changed it.
thank you.
I guess the only reason I ask is because to me, and again, warpo mine Jeff, that changes the whole flavor to me. It's not community development. It's now community development and economic development. Yeah, if nobody has a problem with it, I'll just leave it be my problem. So thanks.
It does not change the RCWs or the intent and purpose of the Planning Commission.
Just the vision, you know, community development is one thing. Promoting economic development is another, is a very different thing.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure that the comprehensive plan says promote economic development. It says have the infrastructure for the future growth of the area. It's not promoting economic development. It's simply providing the infrastructure for the perceived growth of the population to make sure everybody's got what they needed. So promoting economic development is a whole different ball of wax. And it's the same issue I had with having builder forums, but not conservation forums, or, you know, let's plant the city full of trees forums kind of thing. So I'll just live with it.
Does anybody have any input on that?
No, I think that's a worthwhile concern, especially those who want to keep Sequim a quiet little rural former farm town. So I can understand that, and how much development can the area take or is desired, but that's for somehow the citizens to weigh in on, I would think.
I have a question. I see that the name was changed, or it says in 2021, the Department of Community Development was renamed the Department of Community and Economic Development. Was it just a name change, or was there any kind of, like definition or instructions or like task changes?
There is not a budget or a staff member for economic development that has been allocated by the council at this time. It was a name change in function.
Okay.
There has
Is it a
not been,
functional, is it a functional name change?
based upon the economic development element of the comprehensive plan. I'm speculating at this point.
Okay.
But I would assume that there was intent behind it, but there hasn't been, as you've heard, we have not put emphasis in the economic development side, per
Right.
direction
Okay.
of the budget.
Okay. Yes, Karen, and then Larry after that.
In basically what it says in the first part, section A, in answer to Jeff's question, it gives the history of the name change. It shows the 2011 change, then it goes to the 2021, and then it talks about references, although function won't change just because of the naming.
Mhm.
It does make it a little confusing because later on, when we start talking about the rules of procedure, we start going back to old naming, Planning Commission and Department of Community Development. So we get into a little bit of a mishmash with all the different names going through. But the intent, I think, Commissioner Carter, is that it doesn't change the function, it changes the titling, but doesn't prioritize. No, I don't remember us ever going through an official, the department is now called such and such, although the ordinance says in 2021 during COVID it was.
Thank you.
And
I certainly wasn't here at the time, but my question would really be, where would economic development be focused if not there?
Economic development typically is found within your community development department. As the purveyor of development services, environmental protections, and building code, it is the generalized, and statewide it is common to have that within the same department.
in my short time here, what I've seen with Matt, with this commission, there has been some kind of cleanup where maybe it was being done, but not assigned through a formal naming. So I don't have a concern with the name. If this is where it belongs, and this is where it has always functioned, when somebody from the outside comes in and says, who do I talk to about economic development with your city? And they're going to come to this department anyway.
Yeah.
That's my comment.
Okay, thank you. Anything else on that? Okay, does anybody else have any questions? Or Lindsay, did you have something?
I was going to say, I thank you, Commissioner Malik. The bylaws could be cleaned up if we want consistency throughout. And as Commissioner Hewitt mentioned, a lot of there is a decent amount of housekeeping as there's still sections of Sequim Municipal Code that call it the planning department, which it was in the 90s. And so as we get further into code cleanup and housekeeping, you'll see some of this just so that it's streamlined through. But section B of that chapter is just stating that regardless of the name of the department, the director of those departments is the intent of what the code means.
Okay, thank you. Anything else on this? Okay. So at this time, if the commission sees fit, we could move to adopt the draft that has been presented to us today. And we could direct staff, we could do a motion to direct staff to schedule with city council amendments to 2.36 to ensure alignment and consistency between all guidance materials. Would anybody like to make a motion?
I think I can do it.
Okay.
So I'd like to make a motion to direct staff to request council to finalize the draft amendments for SMC 2.36 and move to adopt and direct staff to record and file the rules of procedure for the planning commission.
Okay, do we have a second? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed? Okay, motion stands approved. Thank you. And let's see. Okay, so we have nothing on new business, so it's time for the director's report.
I do have a couple of amendments to the director's report. I want to add a number 2 and a number 3 and a 3A. So number 2 is the Sequim permit portal and number 3 will be our December meetings. For the director's report, item number 1, updates to the permit processing timeline. I want to apologize to the commission for not having a full package of redlined code amendments for you to finalize your recommendation to the permit processing timeline for 5290. Staff did not have the time with the month of October in advance of tonight's meeting to be able to prepare those fully for you and did not feel comfortable presenting partial materials. It is my intent and hope to have redline language to you by your second meeting in December, if not at your first one, and I believe it's December 3rd. Second item on the director's report is the Sequim permit portal. So our online permitting system went live October 28th. A lot of staff have been working on streamlining and making handouts, information sheets, and how-tos to establish an account. Anybody from the general public can go online and see what permits are in the system right now, what's being reviewed, where inspections are at. And all of that information is available through the city's department website. And then if you click on apply for a permit, I believe is the large button there. In addition, when you go to the website to apply for a permit, there are approximately 10 different handouts on either creating an account if you're an applicant, or the process for paying your fees, your fines, and not necessarily fines, scheduling inspections, doing other components, so that can be done at any time of the day now, not necessarily needing to come in and catch Emily while she's in the front from 8 to 4:30. The December meetings for the Planning Commission are currently scheduled for December 3rd and December 17th. One item that we do need to address in those meetings is the chair for 2025. So I mentioned that as just a tickler, that there will be an election of chair to have. Likely, I'll bring it up at the first meeting, and then if there's a longer discussion than need be, we will settle it at the second meeting. With that, for the December 3rd meeting, we'll be getting some materials from SCJ Alliance on our comprehensive plan. They'll be preparing a scope of changes based upon analysis of the policies in the current plan, the feedback and the input that we've received to date and continue to receive through squimimagine.org. And we'll work on the vision. So the first draft of the vision, make sure that we're kind of hearing the same thing from the communities, and moving forward in the right scope as we begin to pick up land use and housing early in 2025. The agenda for the December 3rd meeting does have a rapid turnaround on staff time for us because of the holiday. And with that, I did want to let you know, because we are dependent upon the deliverables from the consultant, you may see an agenda without attachments, but we will get those to you as soon as we can when we return to work after the holiday, if we're unable to get those attachments out to you by, I guess it would be Wednesday next week is when you'd likely get your agenda. City is closed for Thanksgiving and the day after, if that wasn't caught. And then we did receive 2 applications for the 3. I do want to let you know that the city will be going out for making it public that there will be a potential opening on the Planning Commission. So if they're interested in getting that in, please do. That concludes the director's report for this evening, but I'm here for any questions. Anything that's come up in the last month since we've last met.
Would that include things like for the good of the order that aren't necessarily involved with everything we've been working on? Just general questions?
If you'd like, sure.
Okay, or I'll yield to anyone else who has things more.
I do know, and one thing I apologize, I should have added it as a 4 under director's report, is you all should have received a new fact sheet from the city. I believe I sent that last week on development and growth management and development. If you did not receive that, please let me know and I'll make sure I send that email back out. It is available. If you didn't receive the email, I can let you know it's available on the City of Sequim's website, fact sheets under growth management and development.
Okay.
I apologize if that was, now Alex, feel free.
Oh, okay. So this will be going all over the place. I always appreciate, probably everyone does and reads them, the newsletters that come with the water bills every month. And I appreciated the links to the water and quality of water issues and the water reports, and then the chemical analysis. It seemed that it was a year or 2 old of the water purity. I didn't see, you might know off the top of your head, I didn't see mention of PFASs, polyfluoral alkali substances or something. Did I just miss it? Because that's some of the things of most of most concern. Those are called the forever chemicals.
I have not read, but I can forward your question to our Public Works Director, and then we can, I can get back to you
Okay.
about that.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
And then this is sort of a question that came up. On Nextdoor, there was a developer in Port Angeles talking about RV parks and how to set them up, and he was interested in feedback from the community on Nextdoor. I said, hi, I've lived in an RV park. If you ever want to have a coffee, I'll tell you about how well Gilgal was managed here and how they enforced rules to keep it a really good, positive peer group community, and a really great place to live short term or for visitors and people coming here just for really quick stays in the national park. So he took me up on that, and he's developing a 100-unit RV park behind the Deer Park Cinema in that area, and it's huge. Bunch of bulldozers and everything developing that now, and that's really for visitors to for the national park, Olympic National Park. He didn't see it as many that would be longer term in the months and not long term at all. And I said, wow, I went over and looked at it, and it was a really big scale and really impressive thing that they're going to open in April. And so he had, I said, gee, that's a good place for it. And it's actually better probably than in Sequim because it's closer to the park. And I wished him all success with it. And he was not aware that we have opportunity zones here. So I was thinking of the one that's ever since I've been here. It's a great open space. If you have a kid who needs to do BB shooting or to walk your dog without getting out of your car, of the Bell Creek as you come down Sequim Avenue, getting off the highway, the big park that goes all the way from Sequim Avenue to Northwest Security Systems and Gilgal Park and later Shipley Center, that area. It'd be great for something on a large scale. And he had no idea that Sequim had such areas. And he asked, well, gee, who owns those areas? And of course, and that came to mind too. I don't know the answers to those, including the areas along Washington Street as you enter town from the east that have been zoned for future high-tech light industrial. I know there have been auctions in the past, and nothing really has happened on those. So who owns those areas, and are they advertised or listed in some sort of place where people seeking to invest would find them, just so we get businesses or opportunities that are suitable for Sequim?
I'm not sure that we are the appropriate person to inform people of land ownership, but that is public record.
Right. Okay.
And I would recommend that they reach out to either their broker or whoever they're working with in their realm.
Yes.
We will have, let's see here. So,
and I made clear I'm not a spokesman for the city, and this is just my personal thing, and to check with the city and stuff. Although they have their hands full in Port Angeles and with the county.
But that information is available through our comprehensive plan and through our maps and understanding where things are and and the county carries all of ownership records. So that would be in my casual conversations where I would likely guide someone for their own research.
Yeah, actually, the county, I guess from my own experience, county assessor's office can get you a map. You can click on any lot and it shows who owns it and how it's zoned. And so I guess that'd be a good answer for them. And then what sort of benefits are there in our opportunity areas that aren't available in other areas? It'd be interesting for us all to, I guess, have a better grasp of possibilities
That's
for
a-
development. In the
Yeah,
city.
that's a good question and something that I can make sure that we include it in a future agenda for as we think about the comprehensive plan. I see this falling within either the land use element and identifying those specific locations and whether there's expansion opportunities of what's allowed in an opportunity zone versus maybe what has been currently codified right now. But I would cue that for a future conversation date around the policies of land use when we get into the comprehensive plan.
Okay. Yeah. Or if opportunities. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. I was pointing to Larry.
I have.
No, go.
Sure. Or if opportunity zones also include resort areas, though I can see how the area near John Wayne Marina back in 2015 or whatever, or before, was designated for resort because it's more of a resorty sort of place with a view and close to water. And this sort of area would not be as applicable for that.
Opportunity zones tend to be an underserved region, is my understanding of them.
Okay. Thank you.
I think maybe having a revisitation of the opportunity zones. I remember when they first came out, a portion of the parking area at the marina may have been designated. The far end of the parking lot may have been. So if we could get that, that might be interesting information. I just wanted to also follow up. I'm sure you probably saw, maybe everybody saw, that Habitat for Humanity has purchased another parcel outside the city, similar size. Does that impact what they were going to do here on Brownfield in the city limits?
Apologize. One more time.
The Habitat purchase of land in Carlsberg, is that going to
I have not heard
us?
that it would impact
Okay.
anything.
Yeah, and what do you, just a quick update, so,
No, as you know, we, as a city, reached out and helped them secure, we secured, but we had to have a developer in place to secure it, a $2 million CHIP grant. And we are meeting with, they came in last week and now we still haven't activated that, but we're getting close to, we have to activate it very soon. And yet we needed things from them. They submitted an application, as you know, that kind of timed out. They submitted a new one that is moving along much faster. And we met today on them, on that project. And I think we have all the forms now from them that they have all the funding necessary to secured so that we can take the risk to take on the CHIP grant because it's with the city and then we pass it through to them. So it's moving forward and we've been nervous about number one is they haven't come in and committed to it, but since we're getting close to the time when the CHIP grant might time out, we said get your financing into us so we have security knowing that you can pull this off so that we can close the CHIP grant and we can get going.
So that CHIP grant has to be used at Brownfield.
Yes,
correct.
It can't be diverted.
And they may apply for another one. It's the municipalities that apply for it with a builder in place. So it would be the county applying for another CHIP grant for the Carlsberg one. They may do that. I don't know why they wouldn't, but ours is not transferable.
And the city is managing the risk of the brownfield, but does that also involve the complexity of maybe that organization trying to manage 2 builds of that size?
Well, we're all worried
simultaneously?
about that, which is why we met today to make sure that we
Okay.
have security
top of
from
it.
them to get, make sure that we're not stepping out and closing, signing. I'm the one that has to sign it for the city. We're not signing that we're accepting this grant only to have the chip grant only to have them not come through with it. So as of 2:30 this afternoon or whatever, we had a meeting, and Megan, who helped put that chip grant together with Habitat, updated us. Public Works was pretty close to it anyway, to get definite documents in place in the final packet that we will send to Commerce to accept their chip grant, because now we've got the security we need from Habitat that they are going forward and that their funding is complete for this project. Does that make sense?
Is there any liability to the city if that project does not proceed?
We're on the hook, the city, for that.
So we will
grant.
hold the money until we have like in a construction project, you have inspection release. Do we have that kind of setup that the money is not going to leave until the work is kind of done?
The connect.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. I'm not a developer or contractor, but I know that the contract is between the city and Commerce. As we get an invoice from Habitat, we submit it to Commerce. Commerce gives us the money, pays us the amount of the invoice, and we pass that through back to them.
So Commerce will take care of making sure.
And
Okay.
we're an intermediary. It's a pass through for the city.
Okay. Thank you.
But you're right. I was really nervous because they're really talking that one up more than this one, and we're like. But I will say that Lindsay has been very diligent in trying to get them to come in and commit and get on a timeline and get in front of the hearing exam. Like, let's go. And they chose to, with their first application, to try to take on ecology, and that didn't work, and they timed out. And so finally they went from 50 units to 44 units, and now we can move forward because they're not in the wetlands. So
Thank you for that update. Appreciate it. Yes, Jeff.
I'm glad Alex brought that opportunity area up, because there is some history there that we probably should be aware of, and I don't think I'm going to recall it all. I think Karen might help, and maybe even Julianne was here. But there was a point where it's a single owner on that parcel, from my understanding. He bought it in an auction for $1 million, I think, but it's 2 separate parcels. It's the Gary Oak Tree parcel is separate from the lawn part of the parcel. And the owner approached community development, and Matt, you might even have something on this too, to do an RV park there. And I know that at that time, the Planning Commission was not very positive about that, because that's the view most people are going to have of Sequim. That's their one welcome view of Sequim, is that part. And there were a lot of conversations with Barry and this owner that we might not know all the details of, but ultimately it was like, you can't do it in an opportunity area. Is that your memory too, Karen?
And I think if
I'd like to stop us for talking about project-specific items right now, because the parcel is owned and there has been a pre-application conference on that. So speculating about someone else's property puts me in a very uncomfortable position since it's not something under the purview of the Planning Commission. If we continue to speak of the use of the zones, I'm okay with that, but the specific property, I'd like to remove that from the conversation if we can.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Yes.
Yes. I was visiting a friend in Dominion Terrace, and from her vantage point, you could see all of the construction. They've broken ground at Rolling Hills, are well along in putting in all of the utilities and grading it all, and probably about to put streets in and stuff. It's the size of it is quite staggering to see. It's a big development. Anyway, if you might be interested, if you drive up 3rd Avenue, or you might be able to see it. Maybe from
And they're
does it
working on
go-
phase one
Phase one.
of the
Oh,
total
and
project.
that's just phase one.
Yeah, it's 200, I believe it's 217 homes is the total size of the subdivision.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
Yes. So I'm sorry. Following news in Appalachia with, for people totally unforeseen from environmental circumstances, losing power and communications for what some may have for months. And even recently, there was a meet and greet with a candidate for PUD. And while they were having it, the electricity went out. I think that was like 2 weeks ago. And,
For us to,
and so,
is this what the test is?
yeah, and it was going to be about resiliency. And so, living on West Sequim Bay Road and seeing the resort area will be developed, and then, I'm just an ignorant, normal citizen which is why I have lots of questions. When I hear of lift stations for the sewage from a lower level place up to a higher, that sounds like electricity. Oh, that's wonderful. Because I wouldn't want to be on the downside and have everything coming up through my drains and toilets from higher ground. Tell me that can't happen. I know you're not an engineer, but that's terrific if there's a backup plan and it's not electrically dependent.
Well, I don't,
Fabulous.
I definitely cannot speak to that system, but being married to a plumber and having lots of in-depth conversations about plumbing, I would assume that there is some series of backflow, stoppages in
Okay.
place
That's
that would
good.
keep it from coming back.
Great. Thank you.
But I'm not the expert. Sometimes I tune out the conversation. But
Okay.
yeah, I just flush the conversation.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Anything else?
No.
No? Okay. So that was quite the director's report. And we're moving on to good of the order, but does anybody have anything for good of the order? Or did we get it all out? Okay. So then we're ready for adjournment.
I move we adjourn.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
All those in favor, please raise your
Names to do,
hand.
Places to go. Okay.
All those opposed?
Thanks. I'm sorry.
Okay. Everybody's in agreement. We're adjourning? Okay. Okay. So meeting adjourned at 6:13 p.m.